Hey, what's up guys? How y'all doing today? Hopefully everyone's doing good and had a good weekend and all that stuff. My weekend went alright, but I do regret doing something, and that is swapping my Volca to FARAMOR. I went ahead and did it because I really wanted to test him at full strength with all his skills and all that stuff, and yeah, I just wanted to see what he could do for my Dianel team. And just guys, Dianel's just kind of out of the meta at the moment, at least at the really high-end PvP where your opponents have really deep rosters and can counter pretty much anything you've put out there. Now, the only hero that is really giving me trouble to counter is Athalia, so if you care a lot about PvP, definitely pull Athalia. But FARAMOR, I definitely would not pull him for PvP. Honestly, altogether, I wouldn't pull for him. I would skip him and just put him on my wish list and get him that way. He's just not performing well. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that. But if you just wanted a quick answer, I don't think you should pull for him. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this in more detail. Now, I leveled him to Paragon 1, and I left him at EX5 because, I mean, the only thing that changes about his EX skill is the ultimate gets a bigger area. It covers a bigger area. So it's not really that big of a deal. It would be good in PvP if he could get to his active, but he's so squishy, he just dies every time. You really need to run a tanky team for him. So you would have to run like the Freyesto with FARAMOR behind the illusion, and then you would need heroes that give him damage reduction, but they have to give it to him really quick because the PvP meta is just so fast nowadays. And yeah, it's rough. But anyway, let's talk about the three main game modes and where he fits in there. So the first game mode is AFK stage pushing, and he's actually really solid for this. He's really good on a manual team. He can really increase a lot of the damage your team does. But like I said, it's manual. I almost always stick to auto because I don't know. I don't like manual pushing. It takes too much time, too much energy and whatnot. So I haven't had any trouble staying ahead of the maximum AFK efficiency, and normally I'm like 4 days ahead with just auto battles. So yeah, you don't really need him for AFK stage pushing, in my opinion, unless you're at the really high end of AFK stages, because then if you really care about pushing or getting like the high ranking, then go for it. But that's a very few amount of people that do that. So yeah, AFK stage pushing, no, he's good, but I would never pull a hero just because they're good at pushing AFK stages. It's just not that important to me, especially near the end of the season. So the other two game modes are going to be Dream Realm and Arena. Now, Supreme Arena, he's pretty decent in Supreme Arena, but you can make like almost every hero work in Supreme Arena. There's just so many team combinations and things because of charms, talent trees, all that kind of stuff. So Supreme Arena, it's kind of a wash. Not really going to talk about that. Now, Dream Realm, he's been average, is what I'll say. He never really is able to make your team do better than it was doing before. So whatever the current meta team is, inserting him on it or creating a whole new team around him hasn't been he hasn't been able to improve my scores at all. And yeah, it's kind of sad. Now, if you look, we have Snow Stomper and Lone Gaze next, so he might be the go-to hero for these two bosses. But if a hero's only good against two Dream Realm bosses, then that's another reason really why you should probably just skip him and put him on your wish list later. There really hasn't been a reason that I've found yet to really pull for him. And yeah, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Anyway, we'll do a quick attempt with a FARAMOR team here. Now, what I'm doing is I've tried a few different ways, but this is the best results that I've gotten, and that's by just replacing Shakir with FARAMOR, and then you have to swap your Ludovic back here so that Faramor can buff him, and then you move the Illusion Fraesto up front so that the Illusion and Mikola are the ones getting eaten by the boss. And we'll go ahead and hit battle, and you'll see that like he's cool. He's a cool hero to have on your team. Once he does his active, he's pretty much able to keep it up the entire time. So the whole fight, your team is doing extra true damage, and it looks like the damage is going up pretty quick. But as this fight progresses and the boss gains defense and whatnot, it just doesn't translate into enough damage. And yeah, you end up with like 10 billion less damage. So we'll probably get somewhere around 74, 75 billion. My best attack with Shakir is 85.5 billion. So it's a pretty big difference. Now, some of the bosses, the difference of adding Shakir or having Faramor on the team versus one of the other heroes, it might only be like a couple billion damage difference. So he's not bad by any means, but he's also not like out of this world crazy good to where you would just be like, all right, I'm pulling this hero, I don't care what other game modes he sucks in, he's amazing in Dream Realm. That's not the case. So yeah, as you can see, we didn't get much of a damage number there. I think it was what, 74 billion or something. Not the best. And yeah, it also, I want to show you guys this really quick. If you go into the Dream Realm and we bring up our records and we look at the damage report, so you'll see that it looks like he does a ton of damage, but a lot of this damage is coming from the rest of your team doing holy damage to the boss. So all that damage, all that holy damage that the other heroes are doing counts for Faramor's damage report. So it looks like he's better than he really is, and that's part of the reason why it makes it look like he's doing good, and then you can't really find a team that he fits on. So yeah. Now Arena I was really disappointed in. He does free up the ability to really position your Dianal teams in different ways. So normally you used to always have to have your Dianal at the rearmost hero. He needed the Enlightenment spell. All that stuff. But then we got Bonnie and Siren that came out, and Bonnie targets the rearmost hero, plus Siren blocks Merlin, so you're not getting the Enlightenment buff. And then Bonnie targets Dianal, and he just melts instantly. So those two heroes really kind of just threw Dio out of the meta, and I was hoping Faramor could maybe make him work. Now, in certain cases, it's close. If I had more Paragon levels and there wasn't such a Paragon discrepancy against this team, maybe it would do better. It's very possible that it could, but I don't have the ability to test it, because I'm not gonna pull more copies of Faramor to get him higher Paragon. Walker's a low Paragon, and I could swap him out for someone different, but I like that he stuns the Athalia, and it just kind of helps survivability and whatnot. So anyway, we'll go ahead and do a battle. You'll see that the Dio is able to get a really strong mythic skill out there, but right here, see, he does quite a bit of damage to the team. It's just not enough. And yeah, I don't know. He's too slow in PvP, and he's too squishy. He needs to gain energy faster, or he needs to have a higher initial energy to start the fight. And yeah, I mean, aside from that, like, if you're like, I guess I could see him being decent in PvP if your opponents don't have a deep roster and you guys are like either middle of the ranks in Arena, so somewhere in like the top 50, you could probably have fun with Faramor. But if you're at the top end and your opponents all have really deep rosters, a lot of the Hypogean Celestial heroes, you're gonna have a tough time finding a spot for him and being able to use him. It's just yeah, he's too squishy is what the main problem is. But anyway, I think that's going to be about it for today, guys. Before I go, I just want to say thank you again to everybody that has used my loot bar link in the description. Again, it'll be down in the description if you want cheaper dragon crystals. I really, really, really appreciate the support, guys. You guys are all awesome, and I thank you. So, yeah, if you can, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I really like brownness, yeah. It's yummy. I play games with y'all.